Hello, Mr. Ambassador. How are you?
Hi, Adam. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, how about Indonesia? Okay, how long have you been staying in Indonesia?
Well, I've been staying here for 6.5 years now.
Wow.
So that's quite a bit of time.
Okay.
A lot of time to enjoy Indonesia.
Okay. So, which place, the favorite place for you in Indonesia?
Well, too many places to mention.
Okay.
Yeah, but all places that I visited, from Aceh to Papua, I have enjoyed.
Okay. Okay.
Why don't we have a seat and talk?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Ya, pemirsa, apa kabar Anda? Saya Adam Lewis hadir kembali untuk Anda di Diplomasi. Pemirsa, kami akan mengajak Anda untuk mengenal lebih dekat dengan negara tetangga kita, yaitu Singapura. Dan saat ini saya berada di kediaman Mr. Ambassador of Singapura, yaitu Mr. Anil Kumar Nayar. Saya akan ajak Anda untuk berbincang-bincang. Halo, apa kabar?
Baik, Pak. Okay. How are you, Pak Adam? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Oke, dan pemirsa, Mr. Anil Kumar Nayar ini sudah cukup lama ya tinggal di Indonesia, dan dia bisa bicara bahasa Indonesia dengan cukup baik juga ya.
Ya, bisa dikatakan lumayan, Pak.
Lumayan. Okay. So maybe you can say hello to Jak TV audience.
Yes.
Just like apa kabar?
Yes, pemirsa Jak TV, selamat siang. Very happy to be on your show.
Oke, ya, pemirsa, tentunya Anda ingin tahu begitu ya, ada apa di Singapura, kemudian juga bagaimana hubungan antara Indonesia dan juga Singapura. Saya akan mengajak Anda untuk berbincang-bincang lebih dalam dengan Mr. Ambassador.
Yeah.
Oke, talk about the Indonesia. You said that you already stay in Indonesia as an ambassador more than 4 years, six and a half years.
That's
well,
right.
It's a long time, okay?
That's right.
So, how do you think about the Indonesian?
Well, I've been very fortunate to have been posted to Indonesia in my foreign service career 2 times. Yang pertama itu from 1995 to 2000. The second time from 2012 until now.
Okay.
So that allows me to compare the Indonesia many years ago as well as the present day Indonesia.
Okay.
And for me, as a close neighbor of Indonesia, and of course having had the privilege to live and work here, there are many things to compare and to think about, and every day I'm learning more about Indonesia.
Yeah, of course, it's, if you compare Indonesia now and the 6 years ago, is a very difference, right? So what do you think about Indonesia now?
Well, I think Indonesia is a country that is rapidly urbanizing. The economy is stable, and definitely people are looking forward to a better lives for themselves as well as for their future generations. So they are working hard for it. It's a very dynamic country. It's a country on the move. And I think Singapore, as a close neighbor, has many good opportunities to work together with Indonesia so that our 2 countries can grow together.
Okay. Are you happy staying in Indonesia?
Of course.
Okay. So, you said that you are traveling a lot in Indonesia. So, which part of place, your favorite place in Indonesia?
Well, I think I would be taking a big risk to say one place is favorite. Kalau enggak nanti yang tidak disebut marah,
cemburu ya,
cemburu atau marah. Jadi I would say that all the places that I visited are interesting and different in their own ways. I've had the privilege of going from Aceh to Papua, as I mentioned to you earlier. And I find that every place has its own special characteristics, but also similarities. And for a person who has been living here for a while, this is always something very interesting to observe.
I saw you also go to the Banyuwangi, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, in many places in Indonesia.
Yes.
So, please talk to me about the Singapore position in Indonesia, like an economy, like a neighborhood, something.
Well, I think as a close neighbor, Singapore and Indonesia have a very strong and long-lasting relationship. It's a long-standing relationship. Singapore is the top investor here in Indonesia. We have been the top investor here for a number of years, since 2014. In terms of tourism flows, we are among the top 3 for each other. So just by way of an example, last year we had about 3 million people from Indonesia visiting Singapore, and about 1.5 million people from Singapore visiting Indonesia. So that means that's if you look at our population, it's only about 5 million. So that's actually quite a big number. So what I'm trying to point out is that the linkages between our 2 countries are very, very close.
Okay.
And we have a very strong relationship. You may have also seen earlier this month, in fact on the 11th of October, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and Bapak Presiden Jokowi had a very good meeting in Bali at the Leaders Retreat, where they had a good opportunity to take stock of the relationship, where we are today, and also to look ahead in terms of what more we can do together.
Yeah, in the future. Right.
In the future. Yeah. So I think all said, it is a very strong relationship. It is a very good relationship.
Okay.
The challenge for us is how not to take things for granted and to make sure that there are always more and new and interesting and exciting things for the two countries to do together, so that we will both benefit together.
Okay, yeah, bring the benefit together. Okay, I'll talk about the top survey. Top survey said that Singapore have a very successful, let's say, in economics. So maybe Indonesian people want to know why, how do your country to manage your people, to manage the economics? Yeah.
Well, I think rather than to talk about what are specific policies, I think it's very important to look at the psychology of Singapore. We are a country which became independent suddenly in 1965. We have no natural resources. We are a very small country physically. Our population size is also small. So for a country with so many limitations to survive, let alone to do well, very early on we realized that we must make ourselves relevant to the rest of the world. So if tomorrow you wake up and Singapore has disappeared and it doesn't make any difference to the rest of the world, then that means as a country we have failed. So we want to avoid being that kind of a situation. We're constantly finding new ways to make ourselves relevant to the rest of the world, whether it's in the economic field, whether it's in international finance, whether it's in terms of ideas, connectivity. So we try to make ourselves useful, and I think this is ingrained in all the people of Singapore. I think this is one of the important hallmarks of our steps that we have taken to go forward. I think the second point that I also want to emphasize is our focus on anti-corruption. We have also realized very early in the day that if the system sees a lot of systemic corruption, then as a country we cannot grow. People must have trust in the government. People must have trust in the judiciary, in the judicial system. So because of that, we have a zero tolerance system against corruption. Does that mean that there is no corruption in Singapore? Of course not. There is, because it is part of human nature. But we have shown that we have no tolerance for it, and we are very strict and tough in taking action against it. These are one or two of the key principles underpinning Singapore as a country and as a society going forward.
Itu dia tadi kunci sukses begitu ya. Bagaimana Singapura sendiri mereka mampu memanage people-nya begitu ya, orang-orangnya sendiri untuk terus berkembang, memperbaiki begitu ya. Dan tadi ada kebijakan policy ya, begitu ya, yang ditetapkan dan menjadi regulasi penting dan harus dipatuhi ya oleh semua masyarakat di Singapura. Tapi saya pengen tahu juga nih, begitu ya, bagaimana ekonomi Singapura begitu berkembang. Let's say in economics, many top surveys said that Singapore become the very important financial country. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that goes back to the earlier point yang seperti disebut tadi. Yang penting itu we make ourselves relevant to the rest of the world. As a small country with so many limitations, we realize that it's very important to make ourselves relevant and to be able to cooperate with our friends, partners, and neighbors.
How to build the trust from the other country like Asia Pacific, Europe, to make a cooperation with the businessmen in Singapore?
Yes, I think we are a place where other partners from other parts of the world come to Singapore and they find that the environment in Singapore is conducive for them in terms of services, for them to be able to not just use Singapore to carry out their activities within the Singapore economy, but also to use Singapore as a hub, as a base to do more in the other parts of the region.
Okay.
I think we try our best constantly to improve our ability to attract such investors and to provide our services as a hub, whether it's in terms of connectivity, whether it's in terms of financial services, whether it's in terms of innovation. We are constantly trying to make ourselves relevant. But to be able to succeed in this, our relationship with our friends and partners and our neighboring countries has to be good.
Okay.
So we do not see our relationship with our friends and partners in zero-sum competitive terms. We see it in terms of being able to find ways where we can cooperate together. And that is also the basis of our relationship with Indonesia.
Okay. So how do you see about the Indonesia? You already talked about how Singapore manage their people, their business. Okay. So how do you see about the Indonesia? The Indonesia government already manage the people, the business, everything doing well for now.
Well, I think Indonesia is a large country. It's an archipelagic state, which means it's across a wide area, more sea than land. You have a population which is large and which is growing very rapidly. It is a young population, which means you have to be able to create job opportunities for people every year. So these are both positives, but these are also challenges for a country like Indonesia. I think as a partner and as a neighbor, Singapore's role is to see how we can be part of that success story of Indonesia. Sometimes it disappoints me and it makes me very sad when I hear some friends in Indonesia saying that that Singapore wants Indonesia to fail. Maunya Indonesia enggak berhasil, gagal gitu. I think nothing is further from the truth. For a country like Singapore, which is so heavily plugged into the international system, if we are part of a neighborhood where our neighbors are doing badly, we cannot succeed. Nobody will come to Singapore if we are not part of a successful region. So it is very important for us that our neighbors, such as Indonesia, are doing well. Now, if we wanted Indonesia to fail, then I think Singapore will not be the top investor here. And no investor wants his investment to fail. So on the contrary, for Singapore, it is very important that Indonesia succeeds. Which is why in many areas we are trying to do well and trying to do more together.
Kita akan break sejenak, Mr. Ambassador, dan pemirsa jangan kemana-mana, tetap bersama kami di Diplomasi.